probably going to be Deshaun, but Shedeur, don't lose hope, man.
That's a national NFL Network analyst, live, on the air, handing the Browns' starting job to Deshaun Watson before Shedeur Sanders had even gotten out of his pads. Not, he needs to be better. Not, let's see the rest of camp. Handed it over, off one pick.
There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. He had time. The pocket was clean. He just missed him. Bad throw.
Even the panels that like Shedeur aren't dressing this one up. Clean pocket, time to throw. He just missed. Nobody's arguing that part, and neither am I. So here's the question I want sitting in your head for the next 10 minutes, and I want a real answer in the comments. If one bad read is enough to bury the guy trying to prove himself, while a veteran with the exact same problem gets the benefit of the doubt, is that actually fair? Or is it just a story that's already been written, and Shedeur is the one stuck living inside it?
What I see, the right read, just slip, you know? It's the right read, it just slipped. So that's what makes me be mad a little bit because of it.
That's Shedeur, in his own words, minutes after the game. Not blaming the coverage, not blaming the play call, not blaming a single soul but himself. And less than a day later, Todd Monken stood at a podium and had to answer for it. And what he actually said was not the reaction the probably going to be Deshaun crowd was bracing for. And look, I get why the take shows jumped on this one so fast. An interception is the easiest clip in football to package. It's got a villain, it's got a replay, it's got a reaction shot. Nobody's cutting a 30-second highlight of quarterback goes through his progression correctly and the wind takes the ball 3 feet. That doesn't trend. A pick does. So by the time most of you were even watching the post-game shows, the algorithm had already decided what this game was about. And it wasn't the 2 best throws of the day, or a coordinator refusing to blink on a plan that was already in place before this game ever kicked off. It was one play, on a loop, dressed up as the whole story. Here's what actually happened, from the box score all the way to the podium. And none of it is what got clipped into your feed this weekend.
If you're into preseason stats, I got Sanders' line, 6 of 11 passing, 79 yards, and an interception, a little bit of a buzzkill for him on that pick.
The Browns lost 34-10 to the Bears. And by Monday morning, every hot take account in your replies is going to act like that score tells you something about the quarterback battle. It doesn't. Deshaun Watson played the entire first half, 11 of 15, 126 yards, his first live football in almost 2 years after everything that's happened since Houston. Shedeur came in off the bench in the second half, working through the third quarter and into the fourth. And that's when the stat line about shows up. 6 of 11, 79 yards, 1 pick. That's the number getting screenshotted on loop right now with 0 context attached. No mention of what he actually did with those 11 throws before the mistake. And there was plenty else going on around him that isn't making the highlight reel either. Dillon Gabriel came in after Shedeur and threw an ugly interception of his own, overshooting a wide-open receiver by what one Browns analyst clocked as 6 yards on his very first drive of the preseason. The offensive line didn't do either quarterback many favors either, and the analysts calling the game said so themselves. None of that is getting the same main character treatment as Shedeur's one pick, because it doesn't fit the story that take shows already decided to tell before the game even ended. Think about that for a second. 3 different quarterbacks wore that Browns uniform on Saturday. 3 different quarterbacks turned the ball over. And somehow only one of those 3 names is trending. Not the guy who overshot a wide-open receiver, not the veteran who added a fumble on top of everything else, the second-year quarterback who threaded a 20-plus yard dart with 3 guys bearing down on him earlier in the same game. That's not an accident. That's a storyline picking its main character before the facts are even in. And it happens to Shedeur Sanders every single time his name is in a headline, good or bad.
I just watch him from this year to last year. It's night and day to me. He looks really good in the pocket, looks really comfortable.
Night and day. That's not me saying it. That's a national analyst comparing this version of Shedeur Sanders to the guy who got run out of games and turned into a punchline as a rookie last season. And in his own words, the difference is night and day. Eyes and feet matched up, climbing forward in the pocket instead of bailing sideways out of it, standing in against pressure and still getting a ball out on time, including the throw that became the interception, which Sanders himself described afterward as the right read that simply slipped. That's the stuff that doesn't show up in a 6 for 11 box score, and it's exactly the stuff that got buried under one bad pick within an hour of the game ending. Deshaun Watson, for what it's worth, wasn't lighting the league on fire either. He graded out somewhere around a C to a C+ for the half on that same broadcast, still showing the happy feet and the pocket discomfort that have followed him since the day he put on a Browns uniform. Nobody's calling that performance a coronation. And that's where the perception gets interesting. Sanders' one interception became the headline, while Watson's uneven half barely made the crawl underneath it. So that's the debate everybody was having all weekend. Here's the part almost nobody actually talked about.
Shedeur will start against the Bills. Deshaun will play in the third quarter and Dylan play in the fourth. So it just flipped.
Here's the part that actually matters, and it's not the interception. That swap in who starts which game wasn't a reaction to Saturday. Even during the broadcast of the Bears game itself, before Shedeur ever threw that pick, the crew calling it live already had the plan. Watson starts against Chicago, Sanders starts the following week against Buffalo. That's a preseason rotation set in advance, not a coach doom-scrolling the group chat and panicking. So when the Monken flipped the competition version of this story starts going around, that's not actually what happened. What happened is simpler and honestly more interesting. Shedeur throws an ugly interception. The national takes shows immediately start burying him for it. And Monken gets to the podium afterward and does not walk the plan back one single inch. Sanders gets the start against Buffalo. Watson moves to the third quarter. That doesn't officially settle who's actually winning the quarterback competition. Nobody's declaring a QB1 off one preseason rotation. What it does is hand Shedeur the biggest opportunity he's had yet to change the conversation, on a stage where everybody who just spent the weekend burying him will be watching. So what's actually riding on Buffalo? Because a start that was already on the calendar doesn't mean the pressure's off. If anything, one ugly pick just turned the volume way up on it, and Monken made that part clear too.
Certainly you can't turn the ball over 3 times. You certainly can't do that.
That's the same guy who just told the room the plan hasn't changed, turning right around and telling anybody listening that turnovers are the one thing that can still blow this up for either quarterback. Shedeur didn't get handed a participation trophy here. He got handed a live grenade with a pin half pulled. String together clean drives against a real Buffalo defense instead of his own scout team, and the probably going to be Deshaun chatter gets a whole lot quieter. Turn the ball over again, and everybody who was ready to write him off after one preseason pick gets to say they called it with a straight face and act like the plan never held in the first place. There is no low-stakes version of this next start. Monken made sure of that the moment he refused to change it, and with the regular season opener in Jacksonville getting closer every single week, everybody in that quarterback room knows exactly what's on the table. And here's what makes this a genuinely different kind of pressure than anything Shedeur's faced so far in this league. Camp reps are one thing. A backup series in a meaningless preseason game is one thing. Getting real first team work in a joint practice where the other sideline is a real NFL defense trying to make a name for itself against a young quarterback is a different animal entirely. There will be a lot fewer excuses available if it goes wrong. Whatever happens against Buffalo happens in full view, with every camera in Berea and every national reporter who just spent a weekend burying him watching to see if he flinches. And this matters past 1 week against Buffalo, because of something buried in that ultimate Cleveland sports show breakdown that's actually the smartest read on this whole competition so far.
Not sure if it's going to be Shedeur, but I have a good feeling that the guy who gets the most reps against Buffalo in the joint practice, not the game on Saturday, but in the joint practice on Thursday, will be the guy who wins the Browns quarterback battle.
Not the exhibition game, the joint practice. That's where this thing actually gets settled, in this analyst's view. Live reps against another team's real starters, not backups, not a scout squad standing in. And Shedeur is the guy the coaching staff had already chosen to feature in exactly that window, pick or no pick. Think about what that tells every young quarterback watching this from the outside. You can have one rough quarter, throw a pick in a clean pocket, get dragged by every take show in the country for days, and still walk into what could be one of the most important practice windows of the entire summer with the plan still fully intact underneath you. That's not nothing. Watson, meanwhile, gets his own opportunity to answer in that same window, a real chance to make this a genuine two-man race again instead of a conversation that's already decided itself in either direction. So let's go back to where we started, because I told you we'd settle this.
Shedeur Sanders, on the other hand, had, I think, the 2 best throws of the entire day from a Browns quarterback perspective up to this point.
The 2 best throws of the entire day by at least one analyst's read. On the same day, Shedeur's the one getting buried in your group chat. That's the part that got lost under the interception headline, while Monken stood at that podium afterward and didn't touch the plan he already had in place. One bad interception didn't erase everything else Shedeur put on tape Saturday. He threw one bad pick and a clean pocket, owned it out loud with no excuses, and the start against Buffalo that was already circled on the calendar is still exactly where it was before kickoff against the Bears, except now it comes with a lot more eyes on it. The people calling this a probably going to be Deshaun situation weren't wrong that Watson's the safer bet on paper, with the experience behind him. They were off on the idea that one preseason pick was ever going to be enough to change a plan that was already set. So here's my actual verdict. One ugly interception did not blow up Shedeur Sanders' plan, and it did not blow up his shot. The QB1 race is exactly as unresolved as it was before that pick, which, if you actually sit with that, is the more impressive outcome for Shedeur, not the less impressive one. Buffalo is where we find out if he can turn still fully in it into clearly ahead. You already told me your answer at the top of this video.
Go back and tell me if it changed, and tell me straight. Did that interception actually cost Shedeur anything, or did the plan hold exactly like it was always going to? I'll see you in the comments.